All right, Tony, we reached the halfway point of the season in the Gridiron 7-on-7 League, Year 5, man. There's been some real good action, but we're going to talk about our JV division right now.
Yeah, so week 4, halfway through. Next weekend, we'll have the midseason tournament, and then we'll finish up the season with the second half. But, right now, we got the Young Guns, man. Young Guns are sitting on top, and, they're 9-0. They took 2 games this weekend. We actually gave them 1 game against the 15U Cougars, which are a Varsity Cougars team. And, the Cougars won, but it's the first game they lost. So they're 9-1 overall, but they're 9-0 in their division.
We got the Goon Squad, and we got Bearden, tied for second at 6-4. We got the Stars at 5-2. We got the Avengers at 3-7. Dream Chasers at 3-2. Knox Stream at 2-8. Good to see those guys pick up, a couple of wins.
Yeah.
We got the Chiefs, still searching for their first win at 0-7.
Yeah. The one thing about the Chiefs, they scored the most points this week than they scored in the previous week. So I think they're figuring it out, and here in the next couple of weeks, hopefully they get a win out of it.
All right, Tony, let's talk about the guys who sit atop the leaderboard statistically.
All right, quarterbacks first, like always. We got Jalen Daniels, with the Goon Squad. Had 2 big weeks and sitting there at 22.
Very impressed with that kid, man.
Yeah, for sure, man. He's put a good run the past couple of weeks. I can't wait to see them and Young Guns play again. So, then we got Robeson sitting at 21. We've got Black at 17, Gilbert and Clark at 14 and 12. So
pulling up the rear.
Yeah, we got a good little matchup. There's actually a couple other guys that have got touchdowns also. So, 12 is kind of our top 5. But right there, that's a pretty good matchup. So.
Tony, let's talk about the leaderboard in terms of our receivers who are standing out, through the midway point in the season.
All right, so got 2 guys, Tummins and Stinson, sitting there at the top right now at 10 and 9. Gabe Sheeto has got 6, and then we got Sigmund at 5. 4 guys sitting at the top, handful of guys below that. But, right now those 2 guys are sitting there, they're the dudes.
Who are our DBs at the midway point, our guys who are making plays on defense?
We finally had a couple more guys get interceptions, get on the board. So we got Sadler from the Young Guns sitting there at 6. And then we've got Jones from the Avengers sitting there with 5. And then we got Brickner from Knox Stream, had a couple picks this past weekend also to where he's got 3.
Tony, let's talk about our guys who will pick up some hardware, when we get back into action next week.
All right, so the player of the week thing's become a little bit more competitive each week. These guys are starting to throw a lot of touchdowns. So, we had 4 guys that, really stood out, for the most part. We had Robeson, Clark, and Jones. All those guys threw 5 touchdowns. But I think second week in a row,
Second week in a row, yes.
Okay, Jalen Daniels with the Goon Squad. 6 touchdowns this weekend. So congratulations, Gunslinger of the Week.
Tony, who's our top go-getter in terms of our 12U division from this past week?
All right, so we got 3 guys. We got Gabe Sheeto and Jeremiah Smith. They both had 3 touchdowns. David Maynard, had 4. The biggest week of the weekend.
So he's going to be our go-getter of the week this week then?
Yeah, David Maynard. Yeah.
Okay.
Go-getter of the week. Congratulations.
Tony, let's talk about our defensive back in our 12U division who stood out in week 4.
All right, so we had 3 guys, all tied actually with 2 interceptions. We got Declan Brickner. We got Leo from the Goon Squad. I'm going to get your last name probably sometime tonight or tomorrow, at least when the show comes out. And we got Micah Jones, ended up with 2 also. We're going to go with Micah Jones. He's sitting at 5 right now, helping lead his team to, some wins. So Micah Jones, go-getter the Ball Hawk of the week for week 4. Congratulations.
All right, Tony, that's a wrap on our 12U division. Let's move right into our varsity division. All right, Tony, 4 weeks in. Let's look at the standings in our varsity division.
All right, the varsity division's been pretty competitive.
Yes.
Other than Team Up Gray, they've been running through it, but they're one of the teams in the league that's honestly been they had tryouts, got some good dudes, you know what I'm saying? So you expect them to be good.
More of an all-star travel type team.
Yeah, absolutely. But, the other teams are playing them close.
Right.
They're not getting them blown out like week 1, so they're moving in there, getting a little bit better at it. But, sitting on top, we got Team Up Gray at 9-1. This week they were actually 2-0 and 0-1. Just like we do every year. We take our top young teams, 12, JV teams, and play the varsity league. And this weekend we put Team Up Gray versus one of the high school teams. So they lost that game, but actually played a close one. So we'll continue to do that over the next 4 weeks of league play for those guys, just really to give them competition, right? That's what they come for. Nobody comes to play 7-on-7 just to go undefeated and win the championship. It's about getting better, and that's what those guys want. So. But other than that, Code Blue
Code Blue has been really a surprise for me, Tony. Those guys, they have a well-oiled machine. It's just like clockwork.
Yeah.
Clockwork,
Yeah, a lot of precision.
Yeah.
They've got, Will Presley. They've got the two receivers. I think it's, what's the name?
Wolfenbarger and Pyatt. Yeah.
Wolfenbarger and Pyatt. Then Will Presley just got out of basketball or something. Now he's out there. So, I mean, they've got three dudes out there that can run. Most of their game, honestly, is a vertical game. The majority of the people in 7-on-7 dink and dunk 5 yards here and there. But, they're running a vertical game. And, Blaine Stansberry, the quarterback, one of the top quarterbacks in the league this year, is doing his job.
Yeah.
He's up next up there at Anderson County here in the next couple of years also. So, rounding out the rest of the division.
We got the Cougars at 4-7. We got the Crushers at 4-6. We got the Stars at 2-5, and we got Seymour at 2-6. Tony.
Yeah, and Bearden sitting there at 5-5. Miss those guys right there in the middle, but they've had some good weekends too. It's been good. We've got 3 or 4 teams from Bearden this year.
Yeah,
and been the home team.
Very competitive.
Been the home team. They've got to represent. Hold it down their own field. So so far so good. Good mix. Team Gray and Code Blue are sitting at the top. And, we'll see how it goes over the next few weeks.
Through 4 weeks, Tony, let's talk about the guys statistically who lead the league in our varsity division.
All right, so we got 5 guys at the quarterback spot that are really playing,
high level.
Yeah, high level, man. Making big
football.
plays. We've been talking about the lack of interceptions, in this age group also. So, and then when I look at the list, to be honest with you, you look Stansberry, Cunningham, Harrison, Childers, and Guffey, Heck, I'm kind of proud because a lot of those guys are my guys.
Those are tomorrow's stars at quarterback, around this area.
Yeah, absolutely. So, been seeing those guys throw the ball, in a training process for the past 3 or 4 years. So to get them in the competitive, atmosphere and actually see them go against coverages and compete and win, lose, and draw. It's fun to see kids, that you work with, go through the tough part of it too, not just the wins. We're always around for the wins, but it's fun to see them, handle adversity. And all of them done well. You got Stansberry sitting there right now with 31 touchdowns. He's sitting at the top. We're looking at Cunningham with 20 right now, but we didn't get
stats from those guys.
Team Up Gray, we got to get your stats, baby.
Put Cunningham's touchdowns up.
Yeah, they'll be up, before we play again. I'll get them up, but for tonight we don't have them. But the thing is, he's still sitting at second,
right,
with 20. Jack Harrison actually had one of the biggest weekends of the year. This past week, with Bearden, moved him into third place with not team. And
that's my guy, Jack.
Yeah, and then we got, Elias Childers and Madden Guffey sitting there at 17th at 4th and 5th at the quarterback spot. So, good group, talented guys.
Mm-hmm. All of them are talented.
And, they got some go-getters to go with it. So
let's talk about the guys, Tony, at receiver who have stood out through 4 weeks in our varsity division.
We got 4 guys that are kind of standing out. But I tell you, we got one guy at Seymour, Dylan King, man. The first weekend, or I guess it's the first weekend because they missed the weekend 1. So weekend 2, had a tough time. But, weekend 3 and 4,
just come out and tear it up.
The ball's going at Dylan King. He's had 5 touchdowns in the past 2 weekends each. And last week actually turned into Player of the Week. So we'll see how that happens for him. But, we got Wolfenbarger at 10 for Code Blue. Jordan Hayes, see him back up there at 9. And then Tummins.
Tummins got 7. He's got some in the junior varsity division, too. He's playing up in both divisions.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And
he leads that one. He has 10 in that one.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah.
See, I didn't even realize that. That's why Carlos knows the guys. I know the quarterbacks. Carlos knows everybody else. So, but that's impressive. That's really impressive.
17 touchdowns through 2 divisions.
Yeah.
I mean, that's real impressive.
I think somebody said something about him playing on that group, and I think they thought he was an older kid. And because he's doing well.
Yeah.
And I told him, I was like, some of these teams, that have the 6th and 7th graders, they're using some of those kids to play up because really on the middle school level, they're the varsity guys.
Right.
They're the 8th grade,
right.
The middle school stars, even over some of the 8th graders. So, they're out there playing both divisions, getting good reps, and, that's what it's for. That's what it's about. So I'm glad they're utilizing the time to get those reps. Our
DBs, Tony, through 4 weeks, who stood out?
All right, so we got a couple guys, not a lot of interceptions. We had one guy finally that is leading the league. We got Gabe St. John. I got to find out who that guy is. He had 2 this weekend. He'd had 1 for a couple weeks and kind of just moved him up to the top real quick. We've got 4 other guys. We got Jordan Hayes, Gibson, Wolfenbarger, and Galka. All have 2. So, we're sitting there, anybody can get that,
right.
Be a leader in the defensive division if they can have a big weekend.
Right. It only takes 1 or 2 interceptions to move to the top of the leaderboard.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Tony, let's talk about our quarterbacks who will be picking up hardware, from their week 4 performance.
All right, so 3 guys this week. We really just talked about them a little bit up there in the leaderboard part. We got Madden Guffey, Blaine Stansberry. Both those guys had 8 touchdowns this past weekend. Big weekends for them. But the biggest weekend, and I guess it's been the biggest weekend of the varsity group. I'm not quite sure about that. 9 touchdowns. Jack Harrison from Bearden.
Bearden.
Yeah, that's a big weekend, man. I've been watching those guys. The more and more we play, I kind of, myself and yourself, we try to go around and actually start seeing what these guys are doing, when they start doing the, getting good stats and stuff. So it was fun to watch Bearden play. I hadn't actually watched him, much this year. So, Jack's out there slinging it, man.
Yeah. Let's talk about our top.
So, Jack Harrison, gunslinger of the week.
You're the man, Jack. Let's talk about our go-getters, Tony.
All right, so we got
4 weeks.
Yeah, we got 2 guys. We're talking about Tummins just a few minutes ago with 4 touchdowns. But we've got Dylan King, once again, 5 touchdowns, led the league.
Picking up another helmet.
He just out there doing his thing. And he's out there playing in the varsity division, for Seymour, making plays. So, Dylan King, congratulations, man. Go-getter of the week, Seymour.
In terms of our ball hawk of the week, Tony, for week 4.
All right, so, new things happen every now and then. So we got Gabe St. John and Timmy Gibson. Both guys play for the Cougars. So they both got 2 interceptions. And, since they're both teammates and, they both contributed to the wins and the losses they had this weekend, I figured, a lot of the things that we do, to start the games and our overtimes is all paper, rock, scissors. So Gabe and Timmy, when y'all get to our next gameplay, whether it's our tournament or our league play, come find Carlos. And we're going to go best 2 out of 3. And whoever wins paper, rock, scissors gets player of the week for week 4.
All right, Tony, let's talk about our big boys, our high school division through 4 weeks. We got some teams, standing out in both divisions, in our gunslinger and our gridiron division. Let's talk about those teams a little bit.
All right, so we've got the gunslinger division and the gridiron division. We'll start this week, in the standings, people will see, our overall standings, and then we've got our division standings. And when we get to the final week of the season for our playoffs, it's not like a pool play tournament. We're just place guys by seeding, and then we'll compete and see who wins the championship. So when we're in the gunslinger division, we got 2 teams. We got Cougars and Grace. Grace made a big run this past weekend. They went 3-0. One of our top teams of the weekend, sitting at 7-3, Cougars and Grace at the top of the division. We got 1776, CAK, and Betsy Built all at 6-4, and then we got the Hurricanes sitting at 2-8. When it comes to the division standings, we got the Cougars undefeated, 5-0. And then we got a tough race right there in the middle, really. We got Grace, 1776, and CAK all at 3-2, 3-3. CAK got an extra game this weekend just for an odd number of teams or whatnot. We'll match that up later in the season. And then you got Betsy, which is always dangerous.
Yeah.
If they get things going, they can be really tough to beat. And, the Hurricanes, have actually got 2 wins in the past 2 weekends. They're figuring it out. A couple of the players have had, player of the week. They're getting some stats. Now it's time to
beat somebody in their division.
Yeah, get a division win, and that'll come here in the next couple weekends.
In our gridiron division, Tony, we got Team Up Black sitting at 6-1. We got Bearden at 7-3. We got Carnes at 6-4. We got the Crushers at 2-8. We got Team Pressure at 3-7. We got Seymour at 2-8. Overall, in the division, we got Team Up Black at 5-0.
Yep,
we got Bearden at 4-1.
Yeah.
We got Carnes at 3-2. We got the Crushers at 2-3. We got Team Pressure. I'm surprised at that, 1-4.
I know. We're going to talk about you every week, Pressure, until y'all put it together.
And we got Seymour pulling up the rear at 0-5.
Definitely, absolutely. They're kind of set just 1-5, really. So we'll see how it goes. Bearden had a pretty good run. I know they'll give up Team Up Black a good game when they play again. Carnes, has had some good weekends. The Crushers just been in and out of it a little bit. Team Pressure, they've got potential. They've had a couple good wins. It's just they've got to put
it all together.
Whole league together.
Yeah.
And Seymour, they're figuring it out. I think, they just got to keep working, man. Just keep doing the thing. But overall, good competition so far.
Very good competition. Let's talk about our quarterbacks, Tony, who have stood out through 4 weeks in our our high school division.
All right, so we got 4 guys, really right there at the top. We've got Hensley, Hall, White, and Edmondson. Hensley's sitting there with 26, Hall and White sitting there with 24, and Edmondson, right there, right behind him at 23. I think that might be the only 4 guys that are sitting over 20 for the high school division. So, got a good race. All those guys are going to be starting quarterbacks, this fall. We'll add a little segment here in the next week or 2 where we actually get a hold of those guys, start talking some film and, doing some fun things with this. So, look forward to speaking to those guys.
So let's talk about our go-getters who have stood out through 4 weeks. This one guy, man, Devin Jones.
Yeah, no kidding, man.
This guy's continuing to set the pace. I mean, a year later.
Yeah, he's just he's just one of those dudes, man. Campbell County's big on in their offense, route running, and the way they do things. So he's been up there for I guess I thought he was a senior last year, to be honest with you. So he's an upcoming senior. He's one of their guys, one of their go-to guys. And it shows when 7-on-7 rolls around, they look for Devin Jones.
Right.
So Devin's sitting there at 15. 15 touchdowns. And I guess when we get back, here in the next week or so, when we start talking about the league stats from last year and the previous years, it looks like he's making a race for, being at the halfway mark at beating last year's, total number. I can't remember what it was, but we'll talk about it later.
I think it was 30 plus or something.
It was somewhere around there. Yeah. So, he's right there. And then Bishop, Deshaun Bishop from Carnes. We've been talking about him every week.
Makes phenomenal catches every week.
I know.
One-handed grabs. I mean, the kid is just a player. I mean, it's great to see, his skills set at receiver, really stand out in our league.
Yeah, he's just got ball skills, man. He's just one of those guys. He's one of the guys you can really just say throw it up. I was coaching 7-on-7 years ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and T. Higgins was in the huddle. And I'm all about routes. It's all about, hey, how are we going to get open? And I'm in the huddle, and I'm like, all right, what do you want to run? And he looks at me, he's like, just throw it up. And in my mind, I wanted to be like, no, I want to come back, I want to post, I want something. And I just looked, and I was like, all right, just throw it up, man. Let's go. And of course, threw it up, touchdown. And so, he's become one of those dudes, when it comes to that. I'm not saying he's on T. Higgins' level,
right,
but you put him at running back,
right.
He's top rushing guy in the country. So, from this
nation's leading rusher.
Yeah, but he's just a guy, that makes plays. But,
In terms of our defensive backs, our defensive players who've stood out, Tony, through 4 weeks.
Right now we're tied. We've got 5 guys tied at 3 interceptions. And, like I say every week, that's a good thing for us as a quarterbacks, that we're not throwing a ton of them. So we got Ethan Miller, Hal Niendorf, Blake Overton, Keaton Gramman, and Thomas Simpson, all sitting at 3 interceptions.
I think Blake had 2 this past weekend.
Yeah, he did. He did, actually. There's a couple of those guys we just named that were up for the Player of the Week award.
All right, let's get right into that, Tony. Let's talk about the guys, from our high school division who'll be picking up hardware this week from our quarterbacks.
All right, so we had 4 quarterbacks, had pretty big weekends, had 3 guys. We had Hunter White, Edmondson, and Hall, all had 8 touchdowns each. But, Cougars, we're talking about, Devin Jones, which we'll probably talk about him here in a second too. But, Landon Hensley, again, with the Cougars, 10 touchdowns. We said 9 was pretty big, but heck, he one-upped it, this week.
Second time winning an award.
Yeah, it is the second time. So congratulations, man. Gunslinger of the week, Landon Hensley, Cougars.
Let's talk about our go-getter of the week, Tony.
All right, so had a handful of guys. Some of these guys had 4 touchdowns. We had Ledford, Zach Brady, Dylan Dofler. Those guys had 4 touchdowns. We had, talking about Blake Overton. Blake Overton had 5 touchdowns this weekend. And, Blake's a guy that's played in the league going on 4 years now.
Yeah.
I think when we have the overall defensive interceptions for a career, I think Blake's the leader.
All right.
But he's been playing for a while, but he's been putting up
doing it on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Blake Overton is 5 touchdowns. And then, we got Jones.
Devin Jones.
Yeah, Devin Jones, man. 6 touchdowns this weekend.
You send me again this upcoming week when we get back.
Yeah, absolutely. Come get your award, man. Devin Jones, go-getter of the week, week 4.
Let's talk about our ball hawks, Tony, for week 4, who stood out.
All right, so we had 2 guys that made plays. Blake Overton, just talked about him a minute ago. Blake Overton had 2 interceptions. Thomas Simpson from CAK, we didn't mention a minute ago, but Grace was the team that went 3-0, for the week. But CAK also went 3-0 for the week as one of our top teams of the week. So Thomas Simpson at CAK had 3 interceptions. Put him right there at the leaderboard, tied for first.
Got to give it to him.
Yeah, so, Thomas Simpson, CAK, Ball Hawk of the Week. Congratulations.
That concludes our show, Tony, for week 4. We're going to take a pause, for spring break for a week, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We talked about this morning. If it wasn't for spring break, we'd kind of play this thing out and, check the weather and see if we could really play. But, having to make a decision early in the week, we decided to just go with, give you a week off, but we're not canceling the tournament. We'll just push the tournament back to our week 5 Sunday. I think it's March 20th. We'll play, instead of league play, we'll just play our tournament. And we'll get it in and see who can, come out on top for the midseason. And then we'll roll right back into, we'll have 3 more weeks of league play, and then we'll get into our playoff version of our championship.
Everybody enjoy spring break. Come back safe.